Now, you can spend your entire career mastering how to tell others what it is you do in this business. But there's a whole new level of growth that can be unlocked, should you choose, that unlocks if you can get others to tell your story for you. All right, everybody, welcome back to another Re-Education Experience podcast with me, your host, into this podcast-powered experience, backed and powered by Rome. If you've joined me inside, it's been awesome, whether you've been live or in the workshops afterwards and working through the stuff that we talked about. Last week was pretty simple. Well, no, it wasn't, but it was thoughtful, and we dove into the core four, 1, 2, 3, 4, backed by my incredibly inspiring, virtual resource, Alex Hormozi, and everything he does to the world. And we broke it down for realtors, the 4 foundational ways realtors create conversations and ultimately drive their business. We talked about it being the active warm quadrant. We talked about it being the active cold quadrant, people that don't know us yet. We talked about a passive organic strategy to get your message to many, and then a paid strategy. And all lead generation simply finds itself in one of those buckets. So if that feels like, wow, I need to go through this breakdown, please go back to the episode. And we're going to pick up where we left off, as always, because this is a journey, not a smattering of stuff at you. That episode, you guys, helped you build your personal lead generation engine based on effort, time, and strategy. Pretty simple. But today we're going to go a new layer. We need to not replace the core 4. Please do not listen to this and then replace it. The goal is to take the core 4, but then amplify it, right? To just put some booster on it if we can, right? This is what the plus 4 is all about. And again, this is based on Alex Hormozi again. This is what he calls lead getters in the book, right? But again, it doesn't make sense to go into this unless you truly redeploy it for real estate. And that's what I've done. And that's what I want to walk you to, right? This is how to use leverage to grow your business without multiplying your personal workload, right? Leverage is simple. It's like if you put pressure in and you've got like a little, this is the result, right? You end up with like this little result. You put a lot of effort in or strong, and you get a little bit of result. But if you can push on a lever, and let me see if I can draw this right. Yeah, you push on the lever and then the results are bigger, right? The results are higher. That's leverage in our business. And that's what the plus 4 is all about. So I want to be clear though, this is certainly not where we start. All right, not where we start. The core 4 is your foundation, remains your foundation. There's many agents in this business that will never have to step anywhere outside of the core 4. But the plus 4, because it's your amplifier, is there once the foundation is set and proven and can really drive massive scale for you in this business. And we're going to walk through this. So the power of leverage is important. If you want to grow without burning out, you're going to eventually need leverage. Leverage comes in so many different forms. Leverage means, again, putting the same amount of effort in, but getting exponentially more out. That's just a simple definition. And that only happens when you're no longer the only one creating conversations. Leverage can only happen when you're no longer the one that is creating every single conversation into your business. So the plus 4 that we're going to go into today, the lead getters, as Alex would say, is going to talk about 4 more things. And you can put it in a quadrant as well. All right. The plus 4 is going to be customers, right? This is people referring you, right? This is going to be affiliates, right? Where this is people sending clients your way. Sounds similar, but slightly different. This is going to be employees, which is like they are people staffed helping you generate opportunities also, usually internally. And then the 4th core is called agencies, right? Which is creating systems and people externally to drive lead flow into your business. So that's what the plus 4 is in a nutshell. If you're watching this on YouTube, of course, you can see this and I've graphed this out. If you're just listening, just picture that picture window again, but put those 4 different things in it. And that's kind of what we've created. Remember, leverage multiplies what already exists, but you need something that exists to leverage, right? If your systems are weak, leverage makes the cracks bigger, wider, and more falls through them, right? If your systems are strong, leverage makes the word scalable happen in your business, which I know we all want to chase over time. So let's walk through, again, the what. If you've kind of drawn that picture off with me, let's break it down into those quadrants for us. So quadrant 1, which is customers, right? And in our business, the real estate term for this is our past clients, right? Our president, now board member, Sharon, would say, these are not your past clients, these are your private clients, right? Past clients, private clients, right? These are, simply put, the people that has experienced your service. These people know you, trust you, but they've also experienced your service. Know you, trust you, that sounds like the warm bucket from Core 4, right? But these are the people that have now experienced the service, which is totally different. They now know what you're all about, not just seeing it and watching it or hearing about it. These people, if proper and treated well, will be the group that can't wait to share your name forward. If you find a way to stay the old coveted top of mind. And this customer's past client becoming a bucket for you when you're looking to create that leverage in your business is something worth exploring. We explored this slightly, if you can remember, back in the clarity episode of the podcast, right? And I dropped one of the avatars of realtors, calling them, they're the revenue for life bucket of people. The revenue for life people are the ones that really master their database. They love on, they show care. And because of that, these past clients are part of that database, become incredible referral engines for your businesses, right? So that's an agent in my brokerage had a family member refer 6 times over 4 years. 6 times. Why? Was it she was the most amazing agent ever? No, she was great. But she checked in, she went and created that revenue for life mechanism, she worked it, she showed up, meaning socially, digitally, and inside of their world. She was there for important parts of their business and their life and their household and their personal times. And that continued to happen, right? What we know is, and I think I shared this, most agents treat closings like goodbyes, but closings are just the start of the pipeline. And in this case, it would be the quadrant, all to do with past clients. It's a very dedicated pipeline. It's a message that you can speak to people that know your service is different than just having general people send you referrals, correct? Your database hasn't experienced your service. Your database hasn't experienced your care. Your database, unless they're past clients, but you can speak differently and you can have more intentionality. You know when the home's sold. You know the kids' names, on and on and on, right? This is something just incredibly important for you guys to consider. When Airbnb, and I've brought them up a few times, when they had people that use their services, they did an incredible job within their marketing to cater to that service that they enjoyed, that they were a client of. And then these people turned into incredible marketers that brought people their way, right? They didn't just acquire that customer, do the service once, they empowered them in future. Hotmail did the same thing when we first got our Hotmail addresses and we referred it forward because we were experiencing something new and we were happy to refer it forward. Okay, that is lead getters, number 1, quadrant 1 of the +4. Let me define a little bit deeper now, quadrant 2, right? These are very similar in nature to the last one, but they're called affiliates, right? These are your referral partners. This is different. This doesn't mean they've experienced your service, but they are curating their own audiences and they are happy to share you and your service because they're affiliates. Oftentimes these people are paid, right? Think of this as real estate's version of just simple affiliate marketer. If you're an online retailer, you're a brand, you're trying to find affiliates out there to wear your stuff, right? The Kardashians, all this stuff. These are affiliate marketers. They get paid to put the message. Someone sends you business and you reward them for when it closes, right? Mortgage broker sends you business, you give them a percentage of blank, right? Insurance companies, vendors, non-real estate people, these are affiliates, right? This could also be agents outside of your market sending you business. This could be agents in your market sending you business, right? This could be partners within your brokerage, not in your brokerage. This could be partners within a coaching group you're part of, an online mastermind you're a part of. And like I said, the traditional affiliates we think of, which is like brokers, lawyers, title companies, escrow companies, financial advisors, and then all the non-industry. It could be the coffee shop owner, right? Anybody out there curating an audience that you know would speak highly of you, this is who affiliates is for. It's an amazing, right? I know for me, I'm not actively in trading right now, but there is a friend of mine who's really active on Facebook groups, that whenever Calgary comes up for agents, boom, she pounces right away and she sends a DM their way and sends a, hey, Darren, I've let somebody know about you in Calgary, so I refer it down to my team. It's amazing, right? That is the power of the affiliates, people working for you that experience your service, right? That alone over the years has been multiple closings, right? So simple way to think about this is, again, you can't tackle it all at once, just like you can't tackle all the core 4 at once, and you don't need all 4, but just think, are you a part of a national brokerage? Are you part of a referral community? 1, this is a free growth strategy waiting to be unlocked. And what could you do leaving this episode to be a little more intentional about this, right? Anyways, that is quadrant 2. Quadrant 3, you guys. And as we go through the quadrants like before, you can see that it'd be very easy for you to jump into quadrant 1 and do better. And then add a few into Q2 affiliates to just expand. Then when we get into the next one, this is kind of more for when agents have grown and matured and more on the experience side of things. But this is employees, right? Quadrant 3 is our employees. So what does that mean? So if we have a team, they maybe not be paid, but they're high split, you can teach them how to fish and to bring business. And it doesn't always have to be just lead gen created from the team leader. Staff, right? Collaborators or consultants that are working kind of with you, right? These are people inside the business who help us share the load and in many cases drive business forward. But they will only do this if there's incentives, if there's a mechanism as it's talked about, and it's intentional. Just like our database will only use us if they see that we're in the business, right? So think about your admin, think about local, think about your VAs. Is there elements that could be done as they're touching and supporting you? Is there showing agents and internal sales agents like ISAs that we have out converting that could do something differently to prompt referrals or base like affiliate type inbound energy, right? Just think about this, right? Before Redline me had Darren Langille real estate team, I had 2 agents that were in the firm, not on team because I hadn't even started a team, but I trusted them, right? We didn't work under my team yet, but we shared deals as overflow came and they leaned into me as they needed to as well. And we ended up having a mutual relationship that supported each other and helped us create momentum, right? This became the seed for the bigger concept of opening up Darren Langille Real Estate and then Redline as a team-based brokerage, right? We don't need a full team to have collaborative environments in the Q3 running. You just need alignment with another agent, clarity and trust. That's basically it, right? You can figure out the mechanics later. It doesn't have to be locked in for life, right? It's the same thing when we come to leverage and employees and anybody that's putting on big events. I love to follow Tony Robbins and Dean Graziola. These folks who are putting on giant events aren't selling every ticket, right? They have staff people driving and bringing people in, right? Build the system, build the message, and have other people support scaling it, okay? Quadrant number 4 might be the biggest reach, right? But we got to talk about it because this is full out external paid help, you guys, right? This is full out external paid help. Agencies. This is the most outsourced quadrant and the one that most agents probably aren't dabbling into. And oftentimes if you do it or maybe jumping the gun on it and doing it wrong. And here's what I'll talk about, like a cautionary tale around this. But this would be full out Facebook, Google lead gen firms, right? Completely outsourced, right? Paid ISA companies, third-party ISAs out there that are helping converting, right? Not internal at all. This could be groups that are working inside your CRM and you can pay them to nurture inside the management. And then full out marketing services that just help you grow PR type companies for your company, right? What I've found in my world when I got to this point of agency needing support, I've done it the right way and I've done it the wrong way. The right way is, the wrong way first is outsource before I understood what I was asking for internally. Meaning like jumping the gun and spending $3,000 a month on paid ads. When I truly didn't understand much about the Facebook algorithm, what required and which audience I was able to potentially trigger. I was going off the backs of a third party that was trying to sell me goods and of course didn't fully know and understand my business as well, right? We don't want to light a fire in our business, i.e. pay for all these leads until we know it's not going to burn me, i.e. when it came in, the leads were all over the place, spending money in places I didn't want. And I didn't really realize this until I did more of my own homework, right? So I just don't want to be that, right? So how, right? When and how to layer this +4, I think is key for us, because it sounds enticing, but we may not be ready. So here's how I coach to it in phases. Number one is we're going to just start with the customers. Makes sense. Start with our customers. If you've ever sold a home, you have a potential referral engine. We just got to use it. So build the mechanisms around past clients and how they can win. Okay, number two, add affiliates once you're consistent. So add Q2 once you have some consistency and Q1 is up and running. Referrals only come back if the experience is tight. They are sending you people that they've curated in their audiences, and you have to impress. We can't just close, we have to impress, or you'll never get that referral again. That affiliate will find another realtor that can do it better. The third one would be employees and collaborators, right? When the capacity breaks is basically when you get there, when the referral engines and the customers are coming in so much that you need more power to support the inbound, because you've created all the core 4 plus 4 type elements, and the lead flow is beyond your own capacity. And we've talked about that in the C7 series. If you find that you're missing callbacks, you're not following up, you're overwhelmed, this is where we want to not fall down on our face and collapse. Help me. But we want to flip it and say, can I bring on somebody and can I collaborate? Okay. And then the fourth one is where we would only get there and only if, and there's going to be 98% of you listening that will never go this route. But hire agencies when you've gone through 1 to 3 and your back end is super tight and ready, right? Because if you can't convert the 10 leads now and treat them well, if you have 100 coming in, you're messed. It's just gonna wreck, and you're gonna waste so much money, and we don't want that. All right. So Airbnb, right? Customers, affiliates. That's what they did. Tesla, referral-based sales, right? They didn't run ads, right? This was some of the real. Tony Robbins, internal leverage at scale with staff. Amazon, global affiliate model, right? It's everything, and outsourced the complete infrastructure in the beginning, right? Anyways, so if you understand the +4 at this point, I think you need to ask yourself for future, right? Visionary kind of concept here is, what if your next deal didn't come from the hustle, but from a happy past client? That could be as simple as this episode is, you know what? My referral-based engine is not set up, right? Your next deal didn't come from more hustle, more lead gen, but from a happy past client, right? And what if that happy past client happened more often, right? What if a partner you haven't talked to in months, or you didn't provide enough coaching, or you just didn't check in on that organic partner that saved you once in a while? What if you haven't talked to them in months? What if the deal came from them because you passed on a little bit of coaching their way? You heard a tip from this podcast and you shared it forward with one of your partners, and that led to your next deal, right? What if the team members were coached to drive their own business rather than just follow only your little sandbox as a team leader? Team leaders get very tight and get focused in their own ways, and they almost put constraint around their own agents to the detriment of how much can come in, right? What if the next lead flow came from a system that you built out 6 months ago to clean the cracks? Remember I said when it gets bigger, the cracks get wider and more falls through. What if you're at that stage in your business, if you could just fix the system so that when you're ready and next time you go and hire that group, that you're more dialed, right? What if your business didn't just grow linearly, which is probably how it's gone to date, but it finally created some leverage in your business? And again, that's the +4. That's the goal of this podcast, is to just open your mind to it and figure out, is there one of these 4 that works for you? Or does one just need a little more energy and you can make it really turn some real energy into your business? So just like every time, we're going to go deeper in Rome. Reeducation.school. Please join. All the podcast summaries are in there. The worksheets are there. The live Zoom links are there for you to join with me on Tuesday, Mountain Standard Time, on the following podcast. And if you joined Rome late or you missed it, you can always go back in Typically they're recorded and saved. And then of course a worksheet is there for you to follow. I hope it's been another great re-education experience podcast for you to kind of open your mind around these frameworks, to really give you some direction. I work really hard to keep it clean and concise for you so that as you take this out and work on your own, you can really play within these buckets. The harder you do this, the more focus you create, the more winning you will have. I promise you, I have 20 years of experience behind me, and if I wish I had these things early to really constrain me to the things that I know would give me mastery versus just widespread knowledge. Thanks again for listening, watching, and I'll see you again next time.